Alright, hey, hi, hello, welcome back, Alexandrine Codex, and, I haven't been streaming in a few days. I'm not streaming now, so instead, let's play some Islanders. Oh, yeah, I've had a kind of a busy few days, not a bad few days. I was just, it's about, what, like 5:30 in the morning, which is, I don't know, mid-afternoon for me. And I was laying in bed thinking that I just really want a monologue. Oh hey, how's it going? I'm gonna subject you to some of that. I've been thinking about wanting, desiring. Uh, the difference between different kinds of wants and different kinds of desires, different kinds of urges or feelings or things of that effect. Particularly, I think the earliest that I started thinking about this sort of thing, and hopefully this example will clarify what I'm talking about a little bit, because I know that was not a particularly articulate way to put it. When I was young and trying to differentiate between if I liked someone or if I loved someone. And where the line is, and what one is and what one isn't. Where one starts and one stops. And obviously, as I've gotten older, I've better understood it's not that clear. And there's no line in the sand, no demarcation line between one form of fondness and another. When I was young and I wanted something, a toy or a game or some new thing, I was taught, as many people are rightfully taught, to attempt to differentiate between want and need. Do I want this or do I need it? And if I want it, I suppose the way I was taught was that if it's only a want, then it's not only okay, but important to deny yourself of that want. Because what you should be instead investing your time and energy and life into is securing what you need. This was not a lesson taught to me out of malice. My parents were never particularly well off, and they worked very hard. Well, my mother worked very hard for what we had. So she taught a lot of frugalness, taught a lot of self-denial in some ways to my sister and I, which on the whole are very grounding things and good things, I would think, to teach and impart. Responsibility, prioritization, things to that effect. But I've been finding myself thinking about someone. Thinking about a relationship that I have, a newer relationship, a very new relationship, really. And trying to, for myself, categorize and qualify and quantify and really wrap my verbiage and vocabulary around what I am feeling and what I am wanting. Not always possible, you know? And sometimes, even when we do think that we find the words, they just don't quite fit right. And it's fleeting. You know, emotion, sentiment, feeling. We're temperate. No, we're temporal and temporary beings. And so are feelings. That doesn't diminish them or their importance. People have traveled oceans, continents, started wars, saved lives, unified and torn apart nations for the sake of emotion, for the sake of lust and love and want, fear. And these things are small things. They can feel so big and so inescapable. But they're really quite small and fleeting and temporary, and if you have the fortitude to sit for a moment and breathe, they become a lot more malleable and tangible and easier to control, easier to navigate. But as many people will rightfully attest, sometimes the fun and the real enjoyment comes from losing control. Growing up, I had a great deal of admiration towards the philosophy of self-denial. I distinctly remember at one point, I was, 12, 13, 14, around that age. And for whatever reason, it had entered my head that I was a bad person. Now, I was being raised Christian, going through puberty, so there's so many things it could have been. And I'm not being coy by not saying specifically what it is. I honestly can't remember. So I decided to try to seek penitence by just subsisting on bread and water for as long as I could get away with it. No one ever told me to do that. Not explicit. No one ever told me that I should harm myself like that. It's a small thing, but the circumstances, cultural and philosophical circumstances under which I was raised, taught me that. No one ever directly taught me that, but the cultures and the norms and the things emphasized and normalized by the culture and by the faith taught me to do that. And there are more extreme examples, but I'm not really here to sensationalize right now. What I'm mostly here for is to take a walk around, mostly, to think aloud, kind of just enjoy this whole vibe. Now, this distinction in my mind that there are things you want and things you need, and the things you need are the things you prioritize, and the things you want are the things you put off, the things that can wait. And God, the lesson was not wrong. The intention was not bad, but life without pleasure, life without satisfaction, life without want, it's just momentum, right? It's just doing something relatively hollow for its own sake. Our wants and our wants and our lusts and our desires, our appetites, those are the things that really drive us, that really inspire us, that really motivate us, that really satisfy us and make the best memories. You know, I don't have strong memories of the times when I've denied myself. I don't look back on those memories with warmth and pride. It's the memories where I drank too much, or I sang too much, or I laughed too much, or I fought too much. That bring color to my face. The smile. These dumb little dimples to my cheeks. And if life really has no purpose and no meaning and no satisfaction outside of itself, there's a lot of legitimacy in pursuing these ends and desires that might conventionally be seen as short-sighted. It's all about the lens, you know. It's all about the point of view that you decide to adopt and to conceptualize the world from. That's not a revolutionary thing to say, I know. And so often I do lean on that. Kind of hand wave whatever it is I'm talking about, but really, this seems to be about the case. I don't really know if I'm telling the truth right now. Let me rephrase that. There were too many parentheticals in there that it muddied up what I was saying. I don't know right now exactly what I'm wanting or feeling, what lines and boundaries and yeses and nos I have. Not specifically. I have feelings. A lot of feelings. A lot of vague and confusing feelings. It's not at all bad. It's just like any other relationship. It's hard to figure out what something is from the outside, what something really is before you get into it. You know, you can look at water. You can see that it's frozen over with ice, or you can see that the water is still flowing. You could see that there are petals in the ice, or bits that are in the water, or bits of, I don't know, seaweed floating in it, and you can tell things about the water before you get into the water. What it might be like. You can make some guesstimates, some estimated guesses, right? Or educated guesses. There we go, that's the turn of phrase I wanted. You can assume things before you're in it, but It really is only after you take a dive, or a plunge, or dip a toe in, or whatever turn of phrase you want to use here, that you really know what it's like and how it feels. You can imagine or remember what cold water feels like, what icy water feels like. But it's not quite the same, is it? So right now I have a lot of ideas about what this feels like. I think that I know what it feels like. I think that I know what, as I get deeper and deeper, wetter and wetter, I suppose, what it'll feel like. But you know, no two streams are the same, no two rivers are the same, and even the river that you've gone to every single day of your life is always slightly different. So saying that I know what to expect, or that I think or feel that I have an idea, is self-deceiving in a way. I don't. I have precedents and I have experiences that can inform me and give me an approximation. Yeah. I don't think anyone really likes not knowing. When you meet someone and you feel connection, it's easy to just want to latch onto that and hold on to that and not lose it, not let it change or develop. You want to hold on to that magical feeling, the whole love at first sight thing. I'm a pretty thoughtful person, obviously. I'm a pretty meditative and contemplative person, obviously. But the more that I sit on it and reflect on it, the more that I'm sure that I'm not sure. Not unsure as in, I don't know if I want to do this. No, I'm very sure that I want to continue to explore this relationship and this person. But the more sure I am that I'm not, I don't know what to expect. I have romantic notions, absolutely, and daydreams and desires and fantasies. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of them, but thinking about something and fantasizing about something, or daydreaming about it, or imagining it, or planning it, even, is not just at all the same thing as being in it and experiencing it. You know, there's the adage that no plan survives first contact with the enemy. That's a rather adversarial thing to say about what I'm describing, given that what I'm describing is romantic. But I've found in relationships, in romances, the same thing is often true. Really, in all of life, the same thing is often true. That you don't know, really, what's going to happen until it's happened. You can make plans, strategies, you can make redundancies, backup plans. If this, then this. If this, then this. But you'll never really know. It's the reason we test things. Why we test software. Why we test strategies and organizational doctrine and all kinds of stuff. New laws, new rules are always experimented with on a smaller scale before they're implemented in a larger scale, because even if you've done the work and done the math and mapped things out and think that you know how it should work, you gotta test your thesis. And so often in testing your thesis, you find aspects and integral parts of this thing that you hadn't considered fully or properly or entirely before. I am typically a fairly confident person. I'm stubborn and obnoxious, bitter and vindictive. I love and hate with the intensity and veracity of a thunderstorm. And I do so happily and insistently. The way I'm feeling, and the way I have been feeling, like a bottled up hurricane. Ready to burst, but needing to be uncorked. Withheld and maybe not strained, but full of potential. Full of potential energy and potential life and potential dynamism. Restrained and withheld intentionally, not maliciously. Because, you know, it's easy to think that you want something. And to pursue it. But people and relationships are not a means to an end. Really shouldn't be a means to an end. At least as far as I'm concerned. I want to give people and relationships and dynamics room and light and life to breathe and live and manifest on their own, to be their own thing, regardless of my desire or want or intention. Intention is such a messy fucking word there, because intentionality implies, in a way, design, and I'm very uncomfortable with that idea. My relationships, in a way, are by design, in a way. But I'm not a puppeteer. I don't want to manipulate and pull the strings. I don't want to twist and bend and coerce people into being what I want them to be, in what ways I want them to whatever. That's not what I want. But honestly, it can be tempting. Right? It can be incredibly tempting. Especially when you're young. Especially if you're young and you find that you have a gift for convincing people or talking to people. You have a charisma or a force of will that can be utilized in that matter. That's a dangerous discovery. I'm very good at getting people to do what I want. But I don't use it. I really try to not use it. I really try to not do it because ethically and morally, I don't like manipulating people. I don't want to manipulate people, even though I can understand how to do it. And understand that I'm really good at it. Doesn't make it attractive. Well, it does make it attractive. It doesn't make it attractive enough, I suppose. I tried talking about this with my last partner. And at the time, we weren't really having sex. I had withdrawn and wasn't really interested because I wasn't feeling safe and secure and valued and seen in our relationship. Like, I could get them off and they really enjoyed it and that was fine. And they could get me off, but I didn't really enjoy it and I wasn't really present, and I really just wanted to be left alone. I felt disappointed and betrayed because I was so excited at the beginning and so disappointed by how things had begun to turn out. I didn't handle it in the best way or even a good way, but I tried talking to them about manipulating people. How easy it was and how, frankly, good I am at it. And their response was the most tone-deaf, inconsiderate response, and I couldn't even have imagined it. They told me that they wanted me to manipulate them. And of course she was thinking in terms more carnal than I had been. And she was so wrapped up in prioritizing that, in fixating on that she couldn't hear or understand really what I was talking about. And sure, there are sexual aspects to it, at times. There certainly have been in past relationships, but if somebody's talking to you about something they're struggling with, being like, yo, I wish you would use your wiles on me and fuck me, is like not fucking helpful. Not at all helpful. There are relationships that I've had where I knew that I could sleep with someone if I said the right words or did the right things. It underwent the correct sequence, basically. Have you ever felt like that? It's a hell of a feeling. It's empowering in a way, but also like deeply sickening in another, knowing that I can make this person do something if I feel like it. And there have been times where I've just done it for the power trip, which is bad, really bad. Like, really insincere and dishonest and manipulative and hurtful and toxic, and I know. I'm not proud of it. But that's why I'm talking about it. Because this is a thing that I'm capable of, and not just kinda capable of. This is a thing I am fucking good at. And it's a thing that I don't want to do. And it's such a... frustrating fucking feeling, knowing that you're really goddamn good at something, and if you used it, it would service and satisfy you in ways that you might not be getting satisfied or fulfilled or whatever else. But it comes at a moral cost, an ethical cost. So when I've been thinking about this relationship, this person, and the feelings I'm having, I'm trying to be as intentional as possible in letting it happen organically, if you will, naturally, authentically, slowly, because the more intentionality I put into it, the more afraid I am that in putting in intentionality, I'm manipulating it and creating it and molding it into what I want rather than what it by nature necessarily is. I know. It can be easy to dismiss this as overthinking or being anxious or whatever else, but fuck you. What I'm saying has validity. I don't want to manipulate people unless they want to be, and then only in very specific ways that they want to be, that they have specified within certain constraints. And even then, I'm pretty uncomfortable with it. Because it's a good fucking feeling knowing that you could push just a little more. Just a little more. Just a little more. Just a little more. And get what you want, and get what you want, and get what you want. And it's fucking intoxicating. But it's also, like, deeply disturbing. Yeah. I don't know, I talk a lot about ethics and morals, and I can speak about good and evil, or right and wrong, in such unapologetically final ways. In absolute ways. Absolute is a much better word than final. Absolute ways. But it's bendy, and it's flexible, and it's circumstantial, and it's messy, and it's gray, gray, gray. I don't want to make people love me. I don't want to make people do what I want them to do. I want to convince them to do what I want to do. Not through, like, trickery and deceit. I just genuinely want to engage with them in an honest and parallel and equitable way as possible, and engage with them that way into getting what I want, or what I feel that I want, or what I feel that I need. I want to engage in good faith and fairly with people, not in using my half-decent skills and insight to trick and shortcut and circumnavigate. don't want to be a bad person. I don't want to be a manipulative person. I don't want to be a bastard. But it's always there. I find talking to people really easy. If they don't matter to me. I know it's not a proper or cordial thing to admit that most people don't matter to me, but most people don't. I care broadly and generally for humanity and about humanity, but specifically individual people, not very much. Strangers, not very much. I don't pretend to have some saintly compassion for everybody else in the world. Which is why it's particularly important to me to be intentional about caring about them. Because I can relate and empathize and value strangers, but unless someone has value to you, emotional, sentimental, romantic, economic, sexual, whatever else, it's not quite the same. Relationships are in a way transactional. And I know, God, I know, it's frowned upon to talk about them or look at them in that way. And relationships, broadly, I believe, ideally, should not be transactional. But we are driven by want and impulse and need. We do things because it gets us things that we want. Space or time or freedom or feeling safe or seen or loved or close or just sexual satisfaction, power. That's why we have relationships. Because it makes us feel good. At the end of the day, it's because relationships make us feel good, is why we do it. That's the positive feedback loop in our brain. That's the dopamine and serotonin that you're getting from relationships. They're ultimately selfish and ultimately self-serving, just like everything else we do. I'm not trying to demonize them or characterize relationships or wanting relationships as a bad thing. I'm saying selfish outside of the moral framework of Christianity, of Judaism, of Islam, of most modern religions and moral systems that talk about being selfish as being bad and the two going hand in hand. No, selfish is just what's the gross turn of phrase? Enlightened self-interest. Essentially recognizing that everything you do is in your own interest. Because everyone always does everything in their own interest first and foremost. Because that's how we're programmed. Because that's how our internal value and prioritization systems just biologically work in order to encourage us to eat and survive and procreate and spread our genetic material. And then when those strategies were effective, they became self-perpetuating. The individuals that survived the most and reproduced the most, and therefore had the most offspring, were the ones that prioritized themselves, their wants, their needs, their well-being over everyone else's. Except for maybe their offspring. See, there you get into murkier territory. And as far as survival strategies go, and I've talked about this before, human beings, we have documented cases predating written language, so documented in skeletal remains, really, of people who had lost their ability to eat, being kept alive for years or decades by members of their tribe. The other people chewing their food for them before we had bronze and copper and iron or written language. So I don't think the human experience is dark. I think that these desires, these inherently selfish positive feedback loops that make us do good and bad and beautiful and horrible and inspiring and terrifying things, they're fucking complicated. And that's what's so damn exhausting. If I felt ultimately that it was good or that it was bad, instead of just kind of gray and neutral and matter of fact, ambiguous, then I would have a much more settled attitude. It's okay to want. And it took me a long time to really begin to internalize that. It's okay to need. And it's still taking me a long time to internalize that. I'm so bad at asking for what I want. I'll sit in front of somebody I've kissed before, dozens of times, and I'll still have to work up the urge to ask them to kiss me, or ask if I can kiss them. Just because of... I don't know. In my head I do this dance. Well, I want this. What do I think that they want? Do I think that they would want to do what I want to do? Why do I think that? Am I thinking that, or am I feeling that? Am I feeling that because I want it to be true, or because I actually believe it to be true? Am I telling myself that this person would want to kiss me because I want them to want to kiss me? Or am I doing it because of behaviors that they've demonstrated? Things that they've said? Ways that they've acted? And yeah, this can get so much worse when I'm high. Holy shit. Or drunk. It really depends. I analyze people. To a fault, I think. To an exhausting fault. What else would this good bonus for? Warehouse. Sure, I can pop one of these down first. 29, 33, 42 is pretty good. 71's pretty fucking great. So I'm trying to figure out what I want in this relationship, and what I want to ask for in this relationship. The boundaries, and ultimately this is a thing that you should, and I hope to, explore and talk about together. But obviously I'm exploring and thinking about it on my own. Because I wanna come to that conversation with thought put into it. I wanna approach this relationship thoughtfully and mindfully, and having checked my own fucking emotional and psychological baggage and done my own work. And yeah, it's been occupying a lot of my thoughts. What do I want? Why do I want it? How do I want it? And do I actually want it? The relationship, I mean, yeah, I've been having a lot of fun. I've been really wrapped up in this person and really enjoying crushing on someone and being infatuated with someone this much. But I don't know what the fuck to do with these feelings. And obviously, yeah, I've talked to them about it, and I'm gonna keep talking to them about it because that's what you do. And truth be told, I'm scared of making mistakes or misstepping or thinking that I want something and then changing my mind, or them changing their mind. What I've been thinking about the most, honestly, is how I fit into their life. And who I am in their world and who I might be in their world. You know, I'm getting to know them and I'm learning about their life and I'm learning about their day to day or week to week. And, you know, it's all pretty abstract right now. I have vague ideas about things and vague conceptualizations about things, but, you know, ultimately I'm an outsider looking in. Looking into something that's being effectively just described to me. So there's levels of biases here. Just completely normal and natural, and I don't begrudge, but it is confusing. I'm trying to see in this puzzle of interlocking priorities and relationships, responsibilities, needs, obligations. Where do I fit in? How could I fit in? Where are there gaps and holes and spaces that are Alex-shaped? What sacrifices might this person have to make in order to make an Alex-shaped hole in their life? What kind of a price am I asking for myself? Knowingly or not, what kind of an impact am I having on this person's life unwittingly? Am I going to help their relationships, hurt their relationships? Am I going to make them overwork themselves? Have enough sleep? Is my presence in their life going to bring more joy or more disappointment? I mean, I can't know these things, but I restlessly, relentlessly think about them. It's hard not to. Because I care about them. And if you ask me why, I don't really know. I just do. Like, I want to teach and protect and shelter and spoil and just fucking adore this person. I don't know why. Like, I really, really like them. And there are lots of small reasons, but honestly, I don't think I wanted to like them at first. When I first stumbled across them, I was struck by them, but didn't want to be. Maybe I wasn't ready to, but I don't know. But I was really struck by them and really into them and curious about them and excited about them, despite just feeling so hesitant. And the fuck thing is, I'm not sure if the hesitation was them or me. Was because of something about them or because of something about me. I mean, obviously it's something about me, but it was so ambiguous and just feeling very pulled and pushed by myself at the same time. Very, very sure and very, very unsure at the same time. So, again, I've been thinking about what I want. And I've been so confused. Because when I'm alone, I'll think or fantasize or imagine certain things, but in those moments I'm alone. What realities I'm building and concocting are me. It's all me. And when I'm with them, it's good. It's not what I'm imagining and concocting and dreaming or scheming. Certainly hope it's not scheming, but it's different and it's its own thing, and I like it. I don't know what it is. And I don't think they know what it is. And it's nice to not be alone and feeling so confused and overwhelmed and happy, but deeply unsure. You know, I just got out of a long, exhausting relationship. One where we hurt each other and wore each other out. I think that both of us are doing better now. But honestly, what I was wanting and expecting was not to find a connection this meaningful. I really wasn't. I wanted something easy. I wanted something relaxed and easy and casual. But I found something a lot more powerful than that, and more moving. That makes it scary. And again, not bad, not in any way bad, just unexpected. Like I was saying earlier, we can't plan our lives. We can't plan our wants. We can do a pretty good job at planning our needs, but not where it stops. I don't know. I want a lot from this person that I didn't want to want from anyone. Right now, I don't want to want affirmation from anyone. I've been kind of burned by that recently. And I really was wanting to spend some time just affirming myself and reinforcing myself and not giving that space or that power to anyone else. And despite myself, now I'm wanting it. God, I don't know. It's a weird feeling that I have. It's not exactly a feeling that I've had before, that I have towards this person. The combinations of things that oh, this is gonna be the end, isn't it? Wow. Want and need, and it's just cacophonous noise. Which is cool and interesting and surprising. And I guess I need to think about it, and I need to write about it, but I'm not gonna find more answers in introspection, I think. Honestly, I'm not gonna find more answers in just fucking thinking about it more and more and more and more. Because I'm not sure. I'm very sure of some things, but broadly, I'm not sure. And I don't know. And I can't put this puzzle together myself. I don't want to. I'm doing alright. I'm doing well. I'm excited to see them again, and if you're ever finding yourself feeling the way that I'm feeling, just be patient with it. It's okay to be unsettled and confused and just melted, afraid. Process it, think about it, talk about it, breathe. It's important to remember to breathe. Okay. That's a pretty satisfying note to end on, huh? I think we'll put in a cut there. Hopefully in this next week, I'll start streaming and uploading. Well, uploading, but the series won't start on YouTube until I guess Life is Strange 2 is over, or at least what we have queued up is over, and then I'll start on YouTube. But I'm gonna start streaming and recording Valhalla, the bartending simulation, the cyberpunk bartending sim. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm open to other ideas. I'm tempted to get more work done on my Vicky 2 mod because somebody I follow on Twitter recently started playing the game and is like talking about a lot of these critiques I have of it, that in many ways it's a white colonialist fantasy, and wishing that there were ways to deconstruct that or have alternative paths to negotiate around that, or in order to play First Nations and possibly deconstruct Europeanization of the Americas and stuff like that. And I don't know, that motivates me. So if you're excited about the mod project that I've been talking about working on designing over the summer, talk about it. It motivates me to have other people motivated and excited. It will push me to work on something if people are helping me think about it and motivate it. And if not, that's totally okay. I'm not making any promises, but I've been thinking about it again. Alright, this has gone on long enough. I'll see you tomorrow. Until then, toodaloo, take care. Bye-bye.